So narcissistic parents are never going to tell you things directly. Conversation is never open and, one-on-one and clear and upfront. Conversations are always, filled with manipulation, gaslighting, a third person coming in and doing the talking. And this helps the narcissistic parent, to have better control over their children. The kid is confused. The kid really doesn't know whether at all my father is a bad person or a good person. Yeah, because the narcissistic person might, throw some crumbs at you when they see that you are, trying to isolate, or you are trying to go off hook. They are going to throw some crumbs, and then you are going to come running to them. They are going to use a lot of this intermittent, enforcement. So, they are going to treat you okay, then they are going to treat you miserably, then they are going to treat you okay. So you keep waiting for, that good time. You keep waiting for them to treat you right. And in that waiting period, you keep tolerating their abusive behavior. Yeah. And you are in that state of doubt. Plus, we know society, people, all of them are, very enabling. Yeah. Narcissists, they with time, build an entire ecosystem. Hello everyone, I hope everyone is doing good and taking good care of themselves. So today I'm going to talk about the bizarre and uncommon, body language and postures that narcissistic parents use to signal and control their children. And before I get going, I would request you all to like, share, subscribe the channel, hit the notification bell so you guys are updated whenever we put out a new content. So these narcissistic parents are those narcissistic individuals, who want their own, legion of slaves, who want their own source of supply with same genetic makeup. They get into relationship because they want return. They choose to become parent because they want return. And this is something which, they really like, because in that relationship they will get to do anything with you, and they can, get away saying, well, I'm your husband, I do this for you, I do that for you. Yeah, and we know society has, its own unique way of enabling the narcissist. Various cultures, various norms have, developed around these narcissistic, behavior, idea and traits. So, these narcissistic individuals will get into relationship, whether it's friendship, love relationship, husband wife. They'll get into parenting because they want huge return. They will do bare minimum and they will expect huge return. Yeah. So in a narcissistic relationship, the narcissist is always on the receiving end and you are always on the giving end. You have to keep providing them, you have to keep doing things for them, and that's it. If they see that you are unable to give them what they want out of you, they are going to give you subtle reminders, they are going to compare you, they are going to triangulate you. And even if you are, unable to, do things their way, in, some of the cases I have seen the narcissists, physically discarding, their victim, whether it's their spouse, whether it's their child. Yeah, because then they see, you giving them no return, and if you have nothing to offer them, then that relationship becomes very, meaningless for them. Yeah, because every relationship is very transactional, instrumental and conditional for narcissistic individuals. Yeah, and the same thing is, with love relationship, husband wife relationship, or kids. Yeah, narcissistic individuals get into relationship because they want return. Narcissistic parents choose to become parent because they want huge return. Every parent, does things for their children. Yeah, and that's what is expected out of parents. Yeah, because they decided to bring the child in this world, so they have to do things for the child because the child is dependent on them. Having a child was their decision, I mean the parents decision. So it's quite obvious, yeah, to do things for the child. But narcissistic parents weaponize that. They guilt trip the child. I did this for you, I did that for you. Coverts have their own unique way. Grandiose has their own unique way. So they guilt trip the child, they parentify the child, they establish emotional incest, they do all sorts of things. And this is because they see their children as a product which they have created. They don't see their kids as a separate individual. They fail to see their kids as separate individual with their uniqueness and their autonomy. They are unable to see their kids as someone different. They see their kids as an extension of themselves. Yeah. Something which they have created to solely serve them, something which they have created who will forever be loyal and dedicated and devoted to them. That's all. Narcissistic parents, are not into encouraging or entertaining their kids' authenticity. Authenticity is something that enrages the narcissist. You only become authentic when you start accepting your own self. You only become authentic when you are connected with your own self. Yeah, when you know your own self. Yeah. That's how you become authentic. But in narcissistic families, you are, you know, uh, kept away from discovering your own true self. You are kept away from exploring your authentic side. Yeah. And they do this by constantly invalidating, constantly gaslighting, constantly belittling your choices, likes and dislikes. Yeah, it happens over a period of time where they keep invalidating you, keep shaming you, keep guilt tripping you, keep making you feel as if your feeling, your emotion, your likes, dislikes is just not important. Yeah. If you prioritize your own likes, dislikes, and if you prioritize your feelings, emotions, you are being selfish. Yeah. That's how narcissistic parents manipulate their children, yeah, into keeping their children from discovering their own true unique self. So the kid is unable to connect to his or her own true self, and as a result of which the kid has this diminished sense of self. The kid is simply surviving and depending on external feedback and validation. In this case, the narcissistic parents give all of that to their children, and that's how they keep their kids dependent on them, whether it is emotionally, financially, whatever it is. So narcissistic parents don't raise independent individuals, they raise dependent individuals. Yeah. And they do this by using your weakness, using your vulnerabilities. They use this by using their role. They use this by using their love and affection as a bargaining chip. Yeah. So narcissistic parents are into doing a lot of damage to their children, and that's the reason I keep telling all of you that narcissistic parents are more damaging than narcissistic spouse. Yeah, I mean, you can always heal faster if you have a narcissistic spouse, but it is very difficult and it's very lengthy, when it comes to, healing from the abuse that you have, experienced and endured in narcissistic family by a narcissistic parent. That is very painful, tedious, and it takes time. It's not, easy. Yeah, you have to unlearn a lot of things. You have to relearn the good thing. You have to trust your own self. You have to rediscover your own self. You have to find your own true self. You have to do a lot of things because everything is distorted. You are simply like a mindless zombie. When you are raised by narcissistic parents, you are simply like a mindless zombie who is just waiting for the instructions. Yeah? The narcissistic parent is going to summon you, and you simply will do anything and everything that they want out of you. That's it. Your goal and mission is to please them. Your goal and mission is not to do what makes you happy. Yeah? So exploring your own self, exploring your authenticity is being mean and selfish, and that's how narcissistic parents train their kids to shapeshift. And nobody really wants to lose their parent or caregiver's love and affection and attention. Every kid wants that. So narcissistic parents are, smart, intelligent, and big time into using, their role, their love and affection, to have better control over their children. Narcissistic parents, you know, are very smart and manipulative individuals. They will never clear things out. They will always keep you confused and in doubt, and they do this in a lot of ways: by gaslighting, they will, say something else, they will do something else, nothing is going to match, yeah, so that you can, come up with a conclusion, yeah, only if things match, yeah, and if things are in alignment and sequence, then you can come to a conclusion. But nothing is in, sequence, and nothing is, you know in a stable way. Everything is so jumbled up. Sometimes they are good, sometimes they are horrible, sometimes they insult you, and in private they praise you. You are confused. All that gaslighting, all that manipulation, passive aggressive behavior, silent treatment, stonewalling, you are simply messed up over here. So it becomes very difficult for you. You experience a lot of cognitive dissonance. You are simply not sure whether at all my father is abusive, toxic, but today in the morning he gave me this, so I think he must be stressed, or he must be having some worries, or he must be, not in a good mood. Yeah. But today he was behaving all right. So narcissistic parents are never going to tell you things directly. Conversation is never open and, one on one and clear and upfront. Conversations are always, filled with manipulation, gaslighting, a third person coming in and doing the talking. And this helps the narcissistic parent, to have better control over their children. The kid is confused. The kid really doesn't know whether at all my father is a bad person or a good person, yeah, because the narcissistic person might, throw some crumbs at you when they see that you are, trying to isolate, or you are trying to go off hook. They are going to throw some crumbs, and then you are going to come running to them. They are going to use a lot of this intermittent, enforcement. So, they are going to treat you okay, then they are going to treat you miserably, then they are going to treat you okay. So you keep waiting for, that good time. You keep waiting for them to treat you right, and in that waiting period you keep tolerating their abusive behavior, yeah. And you are in that state of doubt. Plus we know society, people, all of them are, very enabling, yeah. Narcissists, they with time, build an entire ecosystem, yeah, with their enablers, flying monkeys, their fans, their supporters. So, fellow narcissists, so, they exist in their own ecosystem, or, they build an ecosystem around themselves, yeah, who keeps supporting them, enabling them, who keeps, whitewashing their bad behavior, who's like a damage control team, yeah. Plus, they do the talking on the narcissist behalf as well. So narcissistic parents have a lot of things up their sleeve, and, narcissistic parents, manipulate and abuse their kids ruthlessly. They really don't care what their kids are going through, or what damage their manipulation is causing to their kids. They feel entitled. We know they lack empathy, inability to self-reflect. So they think they can do anything and they can get away saying, I'm your father, I'm your mother. Narcissistic parents basically, breed for a purpose and reason, yeah, and that's it. They are least concerned and interested in your feelings and emotions, likes and dislikes. They are not interested. As long as you are able to fulfill and satiate their hunger and craving for attention, admiration, wealth, name, fame, whatever, everything is okay. But the moment you are unable to satiate their hunger, craving, that is, the time when they are going to make sure that they make you feel miserable, yeah. They are not going to, outrightly abuse you or torment you. The malignant ones, the grandiose ones, there are some of the types who will, I would say, verbally and physically, become a little violent and abusive. But the usual grandiose ones and the covert ones, they don't, like getting their hands dirty, yeah. So they triangulate things. Some of the grandiose ones can be, physically and verbally abusive, but covert ones, they are never going to, do things directly, yeah. They always, triangulate conversations. They always, triangulate things. They never convey their likes, dislikes, wants, expectations directly to their children. So these covert narcissistic parents are even more, damaging, because they are really hard to spot and identify. Yeah, they appear to be needy, someone who has been victimized. You know how it is. So, narcissistic parents are into using anything and everything to control their child. And this is because they bred you for a purpose and reason, and that's it. Yeah, you have to follow the rules, you have to obey them, you have to do things their way, and then you will experience their love and affection, which is not, on a regular basis. But yes, I mean, in hopes of getting all that love and affection, you are stuck in that relationship. You keep hoping, for the good time, but the good time is not regular. Yeah, the good time is like once in 5 years or once in 10 years. Yeah, or the good time might be, the superficial good stuff, a good dinner, a good dress, that's it. Yeah, nothing deep, no deep conversations, no, conversations where, both of you are reflecting and talking and discussing. No, no, conversations are very, monological. Yeah, there is no room for dialogical conversation. You simply have to obey and hear what the narcissist says. You have to validate what the narcissist says. That's it. But the moment you open your mouth, you know what comes next. They are going to invalidate you, shame you, guilt trip you. They will do all sorts of things. So basically, you have to suffer in silence, and you have to keep serving them. Yeah, because they are your parents, and they, even though they did bare minimum, but now you are indebted to them and you owe them, and you have to keep doing things for them. You have to, keep fulfilling their unrealistic expectations. You have to, do anything and everything to please them and keep them happy. If they are not happy, you will have to take the responsibility of making them happy. Now, let me tell you an honest thing. Narcissistic individuals are sad individuals on the inside. You can never make them happy. Yeah, because they are, liars, and they build a, facade based on lies. So you can never please a narcissist. They have this void on the inside, and that's what makes them narcissists. They go on lying, withholding fact, manipulating things, creating false situation and scenario, erasing things from the past. Narcissistic individuals are empty, hollow, dysfunctional, individuals, who can never be pleased. Yeah, they are unable to experience happiness. Yeah, they keep doing things, but they are never truly happy. Yeah, and that's the reason most of these kids, adult children of narcissistic parents, they are really, destroyed in the process of pleasing their narcissistic parent. No matter what they do, the narcissistic parent is never happy. No matter what they do, the covert narcissistic parent is never out of the trouble. No matter what the kid does, the grandiose narcissistic parent is never happy. Someone else's kid is better than what you do and what you have done for us. Yeah. So, it's a kind of a very, deadly trap that the kid is trapped in. Yeah, the kid is never good enough. The kid has to do more. The kid has to, take those crumbs for love and be happy and be satisfied. The kid should, shape shift as per the needs and demands of the narcissistic parent. It's horrible, it's really painful, and it is damaging. I mean, in no ways it's good. But do these narcissistic parents care? The answer is no. Now, coming to the, uncommon and bizarre body language. So narcissistic individuals are never going to directly communicate things. Yeah, they will not tell you, hey, you need to stop this. Yeah, they are not going to tell you like this. Yeah, because their action, behavior, mood, everything, is never in sync. Everything is, different. Yeah, they will say something, they will act something else, and they are going to, be absolutely different individual when you are not there. So, it becomes very difficult, and this strategy is basically to confuse the child, evade all kind of accountability and responsibility, and gaslight the child. Oh, I didn't mean to say that. What? I was just, pointing fingers at you. Why are you taking it so seriously? I'm your mother after all. Yeah, so they never give out the complete thing, yeah. And this helps them maintain control, get their work done, and that's it, and evade any kind of accountability and responsibility, and help them to gaslight you, yeah, whenever you try and confront them. So the first uncommon and bizarre body language and posture that narcissistic parents use to control and signal their children is puppeteering gestures. So they are not going to tell their children, hey, stop it, yeah. Instead they are going to be like, yeah. So they are simply going to make gestures, yeah. They are not going to vocalize, or they are not going to speak, yeah. And you might have experience with these narcissistic individuals. They do a lot of talking with their eyes, yeah. They will stare at you, and they'll be like, they will do the talking with the eye, yeah. And all of this, this hand gesture, you know talking through their eyes, it really helps them. They get their work done, they instill fear, they make you feel uncomfortable, and they pass across what they want to. And there is no evidence and trace, yeah. They will simply get their things done with their hands and eyes, yeah. That's how manipulative narcissistic parents are. So narcissistic parents are into all these puppeteering gestures, whereas in they are going to use their hands, and they are going to signal you, yeah. And that is basically to control you and to get you to do whatever they want, yeah. Narcissistic parents might not tell you to keep quiet, but they might simply stare at you, and then so they might do all of these things. And we know they really don't want to leave any trace behind. They really want to confuse their victims, because narcissistic individuals, in this case narcissistic parents, they really don't want to lose their pet. They really don't want to lose their slave. They really don't want to lose their victim source of supply, their children. If they lose that source of supply, who's gonna get them what they want, yeah. It will be a difficult ride for them. I mean, after breeding, raising, and if the kid runs away, they'll have to look for alternatives, yeah. And narcissistic individuals are not keen in creating new sources of supply, yeah. Some of the narcissists are really fast in finding other sources of supply, but narcissistic parents create you for a purpose and reason, yeah. And they are very much fixated on their children. So their first priority is to condition, manipulate, and train the kid in such a way that the kid follows the path that I recommend and suggest, and never questions us also, yeah. And they are able to do this with their hand gestures, postures, weird body language. That's how they accomplish, yeah. They don't have to use any word. They don't have to shout. They don't have to do anything. Just eye movement, hand movement, and that's it. Their work is done. I still remember, I mean, the uh, kind of a society that I grew up in. A lot of parents used to brag. All these narcissistic parents used to brag in front of the others. Well, my kid is very scared of me. If I just stare at her, she knows what I mean. And now I get to understand what exactly they meant. Now I can put words to all of these things. Now I'm able to see things even more clearly, yeah. And all of those narcissistic, toxic, antagonistic parents used to brag. Well, my daughter understands. Whenever I look at her, she knows what I'm trying to tell her. I don't even have to speak a word. She follows my commands. She understands. She knows what I like and what I don't like, yeah. So narcissists are good in training you, yeah, without using words. They will make you feel a certain way, yeah. They are going to make sure that they make you feel even without speaking a word, yeah. And that's how, you know, they master, you know, the art of silent treatment. Yeah, they won't speak anything, they will simply withhold love and affection and treat you in a very cold way, and you feel miserable. You will be, you know, in a mode to do anything and everything to get that attention, to get that love and affection. Yeah, you really don't like silent treatment from your caregiver and your loved ones. So narcissistic parents are into, you know, using puppeteering gestures, you know, to signal and control their kid. If you remember of some gestures, please feel free to comment below. The next uncommon and bizarre body language that narcissistic parents, you know, use to control and signal their children is mocking mimicry. So narcissistic parents are going to, you know, mock their kids by mimicking them. So if you are unable to walk, or if you are in pain, or if you are crying, or if you're sad, they are going to make faces, they are going to, you know, mimic you. Yeah, and this is basically to mock you. Yeah, to mock your feelings, to mock your emotion, to mock your perception. Yeah, this helps them to throw you off balance. So if you are hurt, and if you are crying, and if you are looking for some help, narcissistic parents are going to mock at you. What has happened to you? What are you doing all the time? You know, narcissistic parents are into doing all of this, and this is basically to invalidate, shame, you know, your feelings, experience, and perception. They don't want you to feel, experience anything which they don't approve of. Yeah, you are not supposed to experience and feel things independently. Yeah, and they do this with the help of mocking mimicry. Yeah, so if you are in pain, or if you are hurt, or if you are scared, they are going to, you know, mimic the same thing, and they are going to, you know, embarrass you. Yeah, they are going to shame you. Ah, you are such a girl, I'll do this, I'll do that. So, you know, they are going to mimic you, and this is basically to shame you. That's all. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many of you, you know, would have experienced this, but I have experienced, and I have seen, and I can testify that yes, narcissistic parents, you know, do mimic, and they do this to mock you, to shame you, and to make you feel embarrassed. The other body language that narcissistic parents use to control and signal their children is, you know, this freeze out stance. So if they want, you know, the kid to do something, or if they want the kid to comply and obey and listen to them, all of a sudden they are going to be expressionless and silent and quiet, and they will just stare at you. Yeah, you know, they will not speak anything, they will just be still like this. Yeah, and this is basically to, you know, throw you off balance. You know, this is basically to I would say create an unsettling atmosphere. Yeah, and you know, to intimidate the child into compliance. Yeah, because then you will be all, you know, in a state of doubt, shock. You would be like, what's happening? Why is my mother so quiet? Why is she staring at me? Did I do something wrong? A lot of things goes inside your head. And this is basically to make you comply to whatever, you know, they want out of you. So yes, freeze out stance is also one of the ways narcissistic parents, you know, signal and control their children. I mean, if they don't want you to say something, or if they don't want you to do something, they are going to stare at you. Maybe if you're in public place or at a relative's place, and they don't want you to eat a certain thing, or they don't want you to do a certain thing, you know, they are going to stare at you, look into your eyes, have that cold and, you know, stern look, and that's it. That does the work. They really don't have to speak anything, they really don't have to get their hands dirty. That's it. Their stare does the work, their silence does the work. Yeah, so that's how, you know, destructive and damaging narcissistic parents are. The next bizarre way narcissistic parents signal and control their children is, you know, with false vulnerability. So narcissistic parents are into, you know, adopting a posture of vulnerability or helplessness, and you know, this is basically to guilt trip the child into providing any kind of a support to the parent. Yeah, and simply complying. So narcissistic parents might, you know, fake illness. Narcissistic parent might, you know, cook up some story where they were in a very vulnerable position, they are still suffering, but you are unable to value and respect that because you are a selfish child, mean child, self-centered child. Yeah, you are a bad kid. You simply don't care about my disease, you don't care about my suffering in the past. So narcissistic parents are into using anything and everything to control and manipulate their child into doing whatever they want out of their kid. The next bizarre body language that narcissistic parents use to signal and control their children is jarring physicality. So narcissistic parents are into using sudden erratic movement and gestures, yeah, to startle and intimidate the child. And this helps them keep the child on edge and into submission. So narcissistic parents might all of a sudden not hit you, but they might do something like this. Yeah, so they might not directly hit you, but they might scare you, they might intimidate you, yeah, with some weird movement, some erratic movement and gesture. Yeah, so this helps them keep their hands clean, and the kids get the message. Yeah, so this jarring physicality is basically to push the kid on the edge and to intimidate the kid into submission. Yeah, so narcissistic parents might do a lot of things, might show you a punch. Yeah, they might not punch you, they might not slap you, but they might just show you. Yeah, and this is basically to scare you, intimidate you, and that's it, their work is done. They didn't have to get their hands dirty, but now you are scared and you are simply doing whatever they want you to do. The next bizarre body language that narcissistic parents use to control and signal their children is animalistic displays. So the narcissistic parent is going to employ animal like postures or movements such as snarling, hissing, pouncing to intimidate and assert dominance. So the narcissistic person is not going to tell their child, hey honey, come here, I need to speak to you. They might simply say shh. Yeah, so you will get to see a lot of these in narcissistic families. The narcissistic parent might simply shout at you and howl. Yeah, they might simply shout at you for no solid reason, and that is basically to assert dominance. Yeah, that they are the boss and you simply have to comply. And the last weird body language that narcissistic parents use to signal and control their children is psychic distancing. So if they have to draw your attention, or if they have to intimidate you and get you to submit to them, they might listen to you, or they might simply sit in front of you and might simply look up as if they are connecting to some higher energy and getting all that knowledge and wisdom. They are into that deep meditative state, they are thinking and accessing higher dimensions. Yeah, they are simply going to close their eyes and look up. Yeah, as if they are doing a lot of thing up here. Yeah, whereas in that is simply to get you to comply, that is simply to you know uh, I would say confuse you, that is simply to intimidate you, that is simply to manipulate you into listening to them. Yeah. So narcissistic parents might all of a sudden close their eyes and simply tilt their head up as if they are thinking, they are in some deep thought and all. Yeah, but we know that they are simply staging it, they are simply acting. There is nothing substantial over here, it's all manipulation, it's all gaslighting, it's all the bad stuff. Yeah, so narcissistic parents are into using a lot of bizarre body language, and this is basically to signal the child, get their work done, and not get directly exposed. Yeah, because narcissists have an image to maintain. I mean, if you are dealing with vindictive narcissistic parent, if you are dealing with malignant narcissistic parent or sadistic narcissistic parent, then things are a little different. But if you are dealing with a usual narcissistic parent, who are a little covert or grandiose, they really don't want to get their hands dirty. Yeah, they don't want to be seen for who they are, and that's the reason nothing is in sequence, nothing is in alignment. They will say something else, they will do something else, they will say I love you, but they will shout and say I love you. Don't you know that? I mean, if you love someone, you are going to say, well, I love you, honey. Yeah. So it's really very difficult to understand things. Yeah. And that's what the narcissistic parents want. They want you to be confused, and they don't want you to hold them accountable for anything. Yeah. They are gods, they know what's good for you, what's best for you, and that's it. But we know what actually all of that means. It simply means that the boss is the narcissist. You have to keep serving the narcissistic parent till the end of your life, or till the end of their life. That's it. You have to keep betraying your own self. You have to keep prioritizing them. That's it. So yes, this was it. In case if you would like to add in some of the weird, uncommon, and bizarre body language and posture, please do comment below, and don't ignore the red flags. Take care of yourself. Lots of love and blessings to all of you. Bye.